Hello everybody, welcome to linuxhint.com YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to talk about Ubuntu training course. Okay, so this is a specific course that we are creating for training you to use Ubuntu, and it is for beginners. Okay, so I should add it here, Ubuntu training course for beginners. Alright, so without a further ado, let's start. You all know that what Ubuntu is, right? So it is an operating system, and the first topic that we're going to discuss is why learn command line. Okay, so the idea is that using command line you can do things that you cannot do otherwise. So for example, you have GUI on your computer or on your operating system, and using your GUI you could do different things, right? So the idea is that when you will do it with command line, you can actually do those things faster. So if you talk about, like, for example, here if I press Ctrl Alt T, I would open up this terminal. Okay, so let me explain to you that what it is. So terminal, it consists of two things. One is shell, the other one is terminal itself. Now the shell is something which is inside here, which communicates with operating system. Okay, so you write a command here using command line, and that command would basically communicate or interact with the operating system, and then it would return you the result. Okay, so now take a look at this window right here. This is terminal. Okay, and whatever you see inside where you write the command and what helps you communicate with the operating system, it is shell. Okay, so I hope I have made myself clear here. Okay, so GUI is usually slower, so you use command line and to perform those things faster. For example, the creation of file and creation of directory, etc. Okay, so you can do so by using the GUI, but that's not faster. The faster way is to do it using command line by writing inside the terminal. Okay, so that was the question number one. So now let's move on to the next question, which is question number 2, and it is pwd and cd commands. So the idea is that you press Ctrl Alt T to open up your terminal, and you can zoom in if you want to using Ctrl Shift and then the plus sign. Okay, so now we have zoomed in. So if I write here pwd and if I hit enter, you can see that I see an address here, right? /home/linuxhint. Okay, so linuxhint is the username and home is the home directory. So this is the present directory that I am in, okay, using my terminal. So pwd, it basically makes sure that it basically displays you, it displays you the result that which is your present directory. Okay, so for example, cd is for changing directory, and for example, if I change my directory cd desktop here, so now my present directory would be desktop. So now if I do pwd here, that would be /home/linuxhint/desktop. Okay, so you can see that this is the result, and using cd you can change the directory, your current directory. Okay, so pwd, I repeat, pwd is for showing you that what is your current directory, and cd, it is for changing your current directory. Okay, so if you do something like cd double dot, it would take you back, okay, one directory back. All right, so we also have a clear command. So if you write clear and hit enter, you can see that the screen of your terminal would be clear. Okay, so now let's move on to the next command, which is third one, ls command. Okay, so the idea is that the ls command, it basically is used to display the results in the current directory. So if I write here ls, you can see that here are all the directories and files that are present in the current directory. if I go here and if I go to my home folder, you can basically match the name. So we have demo.py, yes, we have it, documents, so you can basically match them. They are all same. So let's say that right now my present directory is home/linuxint, but I want to display the contents of desktop. So there are two ways. One is that you change your directory using cd, or you can directly do that as well by just typing in the address, okay, and then you write here desktop. Okay, so now if you hit enter, you would be able to see that these are the 4 files which are there on our desktop. Okay, so you can basically verify that. So here we have demo.c, output, this one, and then demo.c.save. okay, so these are the 4 files. Another thing that you can do is that you can write here ls and then double dot, and what that would do, that would display the result of one previous folder. So in our home folder we only have linuxint folder, so that's what it has displayed. Okay, so if we do something like this, would have the same result. Okay, so you can also jump ahead. So in order to jump, what you have to do is that you have to do something like this, and in that case you have basically jumped ahead. All right, so you can also go to a specific folder from right here if you want to, like this /bin, and here these would be the contents in the bin folder. Okay, so ls basically it lists down everything that is there in a specific directory. Okay, so in the current directory, if you want to see a more detailed view, then what you can do is that you can write here ls and then -l. So you hit enter, and now every folder and every file that is present in the current directory, you would be able to see a detailed view of that. So here you can see that we have the file permissions or privileges. I think this is our topic number. Let me just look at it here. This is next topic, topic number 4. So we'll discuss that in detail, that what this portion is. So just leave it right now. So this one here, this is the group name, and this is the username, and this is the file size, this is the date, on what date and time the file was created, and this is the file name. Okay, so you have a detailed view. So if you want to also get the dot files in the directory, in that case you use ls-a. Dot files are the files that are like hidden. Okay, you won't be able to see them otherwise. Okay, so that's why you use the -a flag to figure out all the hidden files as well. And now you can see that if I do ls here, I have limited files, but if I do ls-a or -a, then I can see there are more files with dots. Okay, so every dot file is a hidden file. So what you can do is that you can also list them using L with the detailed view. So when you would do that, you would have every hidden file with their privileges and detailed. Okay, so if you want to sort the files by size, you can also do that. You would write here ls-l and then capital S here, and now all the files there would be basically sorted by the size. So this is examples.desktop. This is the greatest one. Okay, it has the largest file size. Then we have desktop, it has the second largest file size, and then in the end we have demo.py, which is a Python script. It has the smallest size of all. Okay, so now there is one other thing that you can do, is that if you want to copy every result into the text file, you can also do that. So for example, if you want to copy all of that negative or -ls, If you want to copy it inside a text file, you can do that. So let's say I write here out.text, and if I hit enter, you can see that I did not get any error. So now if I ls here, you can see I have an extra file added, out.text, and if I open it up, let me just open this out.text. So you can see that inside the out.text I have saved all that output of the ls command, which was basically sorted, okay, sorted by size. And in the similar way, I can see that you can see that I have basically taken it out using the cat command. Okay, so the cat command, it is basically used to extract whatever is in the file and display it on the terminal. Okay, so in order to find out more about ls command, you can do man ls, and here from here this is like a manual. Okay, so you can read everything about ls, and you can do 100 other things with this command as well. Okay, so now let's move on to our topic number 4, which is file permissions. Okay, so if we talk about file permissions, then let me just do that quickly for you here. So if I do ls -l here, you can see that here we have this data. Okay, so here if you're able to see, these are the user privileges. Okay, so the first part here, you can see that R stands for reading, W stands for writing, X stands for executing, and D stands for directory. Okay, so you can write that down anywhere if you want to. So the first portion here, you can see that this is the portion which represents the owner privileges. Okay, so there are 3 types of entities in here, or stakeholders you can say. One is owner, the second one is the group, and the third one is public, or you can say others. All right, so R stands for read, W stands for write, so which means that the owner has read and write permission for this demo.py. The groups, they only have read permissions, they only can view it, they cannot write it. And the public, they also have only read permissions. Okay, so now let's get to here, and here you can see here we have the same strategy. Okay, so this one here, this is owner, this is group, and these are the privileges for public. In the similar way, these are the privileges for owner, these are the privileges for group, these are the privileges for public. Okay, and as I have told you, that D stands for directory, R stands for read, W stands for writing, and X stands for executable. Okay, so before we jump into writing a command and change these user privileges, I want to tell you that there are other ways. So U here, it is for user. Okay, and I'm not writing any command, I'm just explaining to you. Okay, and G is for groups. Okay, if I use that in command, and O is for other people or public. Okay, so just remember this U, G, and O, because that's what we are going to use. So U is for user, G is for groups, and O is for other people. So if we use that with chmod command, which I'm going to discuss in a while, then if I use U there, it means that I'm trying to change the permissions for user. If I use G there, it means that I'm trying to change the permission for the groups. And if I use O there, it means that I'm trying to change the permission for other people. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, so let's say if I write here chmod, and then I write here user, then I write here -w, and then I write here file name, which is demo.py. If I hit enter, you can see that there are no errors, right? So now if I do ls -l here, so just notice that previously we had rw r, okay, in the demo.py. So now here you can see that I have basically subtracted or eliminated the W, the write permissions from the demo.py successfully by using this command. I can add that back as well. How would I do that? I would write here chmod, then I would write here user, then I would write here plus w, and then I would write here the file name, which is essentially demo.py. Now if I hit enter, I still did not get any error. Now I would write here ls-l. I hit enter, and you can see that the w permission or the write permissions for the user, they are back. Okay, so if I write here g, that would be for groups, and if I write here o, that would be for other and public people. Okay, so you can literally, with this much knowledge, you can hack computers on your network. Okay, so don't try that. This is just, we do not encourage that. This is just for knowledge purposes. Okay, so there is another way to write the similar command. Okay, so you can ask, what is that? So that is basically the mathematical way. So let me just show you that quickly. So for that, I would have a text editor here, and I would show you. Okay, so here we have number 4, we have 2, we have 1, and we have 0. Okay, so with chmod, if you want to change the permissions, then 4, it stands for read. Okay, 2 stands for write, and 1 stands for execute. Okay, or X. All right, and 0, it means no permission. All right, so now if you're going to write the command, so you're going to write it like this: chmod, and then you're going to write 754, and then you're going to write here the file name. Okay, whatever it is that you want to change permission for. So now this number would represent, the first number would represent the permissions for owner, the second number would represent the permission for group, and the third one will represent the permission for public. Okay, so let us find out what does that mean. So 7 means, 7 is the sum of 4, 2, 1. Okay, so it means that the owner would have read, write, and execute permissions. Okay, so 5, it is the sum of 4 and 1, which means that the group would have read and execute permissions. So 4, it is only read, so it means that the public or the other people would have just read permissions. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's try it. So let's try it on demo.py. So first what we would do, would assign it like 000, okay, which means no permission. Oh, excuse me, not file actually, but I'm gonna write here demo.py. Okay, so there are no errors. So if I do something like this, you can see that demo.py, it has no permissions, right? So now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna write here chmod 754, and then we're gonna write here the file name, which is essentially demo.py. I hit enter, there are no errors, it is fine. So now if I do that ls-l, if I hit enter, you can see that we have read, write, and execute permission for owner, and we have execute and only read permission for the other people. Okay, so this is like for other people, and this is for the group. All right, and this is for the owner. Okay, so I hope you have got this concept, because I've explained that to you in detail. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is topic number 5, environment variables. Okay, so the environment variables, they are already present there in your computer, and they perform some of the most useful tasks. Okay, so they are very useful. So if you, the way to figure out that what environment variable contains is that let me show you that. So if I write here echo, and then there is a very popular environment variable, which is path. Okay, so if I do that, if I hit enter, so this is the path. Okay, this is the path environment variable, and here you can see that I have the my Java configuration here in as well. Okay, another configuration. So everything is in there. Okay, so if you want to let me tell you that this is case sensitive thing. So if I write here like something like this, then I would not get anything because this variable is empty. Okay, so let me just clear it. And the other environment variable is user. Okay, so if I do that, if I hit enter, you can see that Linux hint, this is my username, and that's what it has shown because that's the environment variable that contains the user. Okay, then we have echo and home. Okay, so this is the home variable, and this contains the address of home and user. So it contains /home/Linux hint. Okay, so if you want to know all the environment variables present in your system, so for that you just have to type env, hit enter, and there you go. There are tons and tons of environment variables present in your system. And here we see some familiar one, path as well. Okay, so these are all the environment variables present in your computer. Okay, so you can also create variables on your own if you want to. So for example, if I create new variable, all right, and I keep it like abc123, you can see that it has not given us any error, which means that the variable has been added. So if I do something like this, echo new variable, I'd be able to see this abc123. So I can delete that as well by using the unset command. I can do something like this, unset, and then I can write here new variable. I hit enter, there are no errors. So how do I know that if that has been unset or not? I would just write here echo, and then I would write here n variable. I hit enter, and you can see that there are no errors. All right, so yeah, that was it for environment variables. And let me just clear it. Let's move on to the next topic, which is the topic number 6, playing with text files. So you can literally do that. So let me just go here in our terminal, and let's move on to the desktop and let's do this thing there. So right now on my desktop, you can see that I have very few files, right? So what I can do is that I can write here echo, and then I can print here something, hello, this is the text, and I can actually put that inside another text file that I can call new.txt. So I hit enter, there are no errors. So now if I ls here, you can see that I have a new file which is new.txt. And if I want to see that what is inside this file, I can do that by writing cat new.txt. So if I hit enter, you can see that hello, this is the text that I have echoed that has been entered in and saved into the new.txt file. Okay, so if I want to edit it, I can do that by writing here nano, and then I can write here nano is the editor. You can say default editor for the terminal. So if I write here nano new.txt, it would allow me to enter anything in here. So I can say this is another line, this one is new. So I can press Ctrl O, hit enter, Ctrl X, come out of here, I can clear it, and now if I do something like this, cat new.txt, if I hit enter, you can see that now instead of one line there are 3 lines. Okay, so I have edited that as well using the nano editor. So now let's move on to the next command or next topic, excuse me, which is zip and unzip, or you can also say compression and decompression. Okay, so if you want to basically zip or compress any file, you can do so easily. So let's say, let me just clear it first. So ILS here, you can see that I have couple of files here. So let's say that if I want to zip a single file which is new.txt, I can do that. So to zip a file, what you can do is that you can write here gzip, and then you can write here the file name. Let's say I write here new.txt. I hit enter, and you can see that there are no errors. And if I ls here, you can see that I have new.txt.gz. The gz extension represents the zip file. Okay, so here you can see on desktop as well, I have here new.txt.gz. right? That was basically zipping of a single file, okay, or compression of a single file. So if I want to basically unzip it, I can also do that. How would I do that? I would just write here unzip, and then I would write here the file name, which is essentially new.txt.gz. okay, so now if I hit enter, you can see that if I ls here, the new.txt, now it has been successfully decompressed, or it has been unzipped. All right, so now what if you want to do that with the multiple files? You can also do that. So for example, if I want to zip these two files, new.txt and demo.c, okay, so I can do that. How would I do that? I would write here tar, then I would write here cvf, okay, tar cvf. C stands for create, okay, V stands for display, and F stands for option here, okay. And then I can write here the folder name that I want to give. So let's say I give it the name compress.tar. This is a folder name, and in this folder I want to put two files which are going to be new.txt, and the other one is going to be demo.c, okay. So now if I hit enter, you can see that there we have one new folder, compress.tar, and if I open it up, you can see that inside of that we have two files. So that's how you compress multiple. So in order to unzip this from compress.tar, what you have to do is that you have to write here tar, and then you write here xvf, and then you write here compress.tar. So there you go, we have unzipped the multiple files as well. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is touch command. That is fairly simple, and touch command is basically used for creating a text file, okay. So right now we have ls here, we have these things here. So if I do like touch file.txt, if I hit enter, if I ls now, you can see that I have created a file.txt using the touch command, okay. So touch command is basically used for creating a new file. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is topic number 9, create and remove directories, okay. So in order to create a new directory, all you have to do is that you have to write here mkdir, and then you write here new dir. So you hit enter, and now if we ls here, you can see that we have new dir added. All right, and now if you go back to your desktop, you would be able to see that we have new dir here. So one more thing that you can do is that you can delete that dir as well. If you do something like rm new dir, and if you hit enter, you can see that it says rm cannot remove new dir, okay. So the idea is that you have to, in order to remove the directory, you need to make sure that that this directory, whatever is inside, or even if there is nothing inside, you need to make sure that the deletion of the directory is recursive, okay, which means that the content is being deleted first and then the directory, okay. So things like that. So in order to do that, you just simply have to add a negative r or -r flag, and then you would write here the name of the directory. You hit enter, and you can see now there is no error, which means that the directory has been deleted successfully. So now if we ls here, you can see that there is no directory here, and if you want to verify it, you can also go to your desktop, and there is no directory. It has been deleted successfully. So let's move on to the next topic, which is copy, paste, and rename files, okay. So the idea is that you can copy the files as well. So for example, we have, if we ls here, let me just do that, we have this file.txt. So let's say that if I want to create a copy of this file, how would I do that? So let's say that I enter add something in this file. This is a file, okay, and yes, all right, so I add that in the file.txt, hit enter, and I check it. So this is what we have in the file.txt, okay. This is a file, and yes, so now I want to create a copy of this file, so I would write here cp file.txt and I create a copy. Okay, so I just write here copy or copy.txt, doesn't matter. So now if I ls here, you can see that I have a new file which is copy.txt, right? So if I want to see that what is it inside the copy.txt, I can cat it, and you can see that this is a file, and yes, this is the similar thing that we have in the file.txt. So you see here how easy it was to create a copy of the file. Okay, so if you want to create a copy in some other directory, you can also do that. Just type in here the path to that path of the directory, and then after that directory you put a slash, and then you write here the file name that you want to give into that specific directory. Okay, so you can actually rename that as well. Okay, so in order to rename that file, so for example the copy.txt, I want to rename it as not copy.txt. So how would I do that? I would just write here move copy.txt, and then I would write here not copy.txt. See, the funny thing is that the move, it really means that you're moving the file from one place to another, but in this case you can see that as we are moving the file in the same directory, so it would rename it. Okay, so you don't have to write here a rename command. There is no such thing. You just use this move command to rename that. All right, so if you're moving the file in another directory, then obviously that file would stay there, and here you would put the path to that directory and then the file name, and that file would be stored there, or that will be moved there with the same name if you don't write the file name, and if you write the file name, it will be moved there with a new name. So now if I hit enter and if I ls here, you can see that the copy.txt is nowhere to be found. Rather, we have not copy.txt. That's how you successfully name it. Okay, so right now if I ls my folder, my home folder here, you can see that there is no not copy.txt, right? So if I want to move this there, all I have to do is that I would write here move not copy.txt, and I would write something like this, the address to my home directory. I hit enter, there are no errors. So if I if I ls my home, you can see that I have not copy.txt moved from my desktop to my home directory, and if I ls here, I don't have any not copy.txt here. Okay, so I hope you have got the point. Move on to the next topic, which is naming and spacing in Linux. Okay, so this is a very crucial thing. So let's say that I am on my desktop right now. So let me just get rid of a few of the files. So what I would do, I would just write here rm, then I would write here demo.c.save. I don't want this new.txt. I don't want this file.txt. So if I hit enter, now you can see that all those files have been removed. All right, so let me just clear it. So that's how you delete the files as well. And now what I would do, I would write here, let me just ls first. I have 3 files here, and now if I want to create a file with spacing in it, okay, the topic name is naming and spacing. So if I write here new file, okay, something like this. So now what would happen is that it would, instead of creating one file with the name new file, it would actually create 2 files. So here you can see that I have 2 files instead of one file new. Okay, so this is this problem you would face. This is a spacing problem. So in order to fix it, all you can do is that, let me just delete both of them. So now if I ls here, you can see that we have only 3 files. So in order to get rid of this problem, what you would do, you'd write here touch new, and then you'd add here a slash, and then you write here file. Okay, so now if you hit enter, and if you now ls here, you can see that now you have quotes. It means that we have only one file on our desktop here. Okay, so I think I didn't show you previously the new file, the 2 new files. Let me show you that as well. So if I just simply do not add that slash here, if I do something like this, you can see that we have 2 files, 2 separate files which have been created. Okay, so with adding this slash, we have just 1 file. So the similar thing and the similar problem is with the directories as well. So if I create a directory as new directory, okay, so here you can see that I want to create one directory clearly, but you can see that we have two directories here. Okay, so in order to fix that problem, all you have to do is that you have to write here new, then that specific slash, and then directory. Okay, hit enter, and now you have only one new directory. So if I list here, you can see I have only one new directory. Okay, so now let's move on to the next topic, topic number 12, auto completion. Okay, so you might have noticed that most of the time if I'm writing the command, I auto complete it, right? So like for example, if I'm writing here cd, like let me just go back here, if I'm writing here des, you know, this is like auto completion. How do I do that? I do that using tab. Okay, there is a tab key on your computer, just press that and that would basically do the job. So there is one thing that you need to notice. So if I press tab twice, you can see that there are multiple options. Okay, the computer doesn't know which one I want. Okay, I need to be more specific. If I press here O and if I double tap, you can see that I still have two options. So I need to be more specific. It means that I need to choose one. So if I go till C and now if I press tab, you can see that it would auto complete it, right? So that is the similar case. So if I write here L, if I double tap here, you can see that it says display all the 116 possibilities. Okay, I just wanted to write ls, but here we have 116 possibilities in the commands. So if I press Y, here they are all the 116 possibilities. Okay, so things like that. I hope you have understood it. You have got the point of auto completion. If you want to auto complete, just press tab and it would auto complete. All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is the topic number 13, which is keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so there are several keyboard shortcuts available on Linux. So one of them is if you press Ctrl Shift N. Okay, let me just write it down here in a new text file. Let's say the Control plus Shift plus N. So what it would do, it would create a directory or create a folder. Okay, so here if I press Ctrl Shift N, you can see that it says folder name. So I just write here new, hit enter, and you can see that new folder or new directory has been created that I've created using the shortcut Ctrl Shift N. Okay, so let's say that if I am like I'm somewhere inside here, you know, in the Java project folder, and I want to come back to my home folder. How would I do that? I would press Alt and home. Okay, and I'm back. Okay, so let me just write it down here for you, Alt plus home. Okay, so that's how you would get back to home directory. Okay, and there is another one which is Alt plus F4, which means that you close the current window. Okay, close current window. So if I go here, I press Alt F4 and you can see that the current window has been closed. There is another shortcut, Control Alt T. If you press that, Control Alt Control Alt T. So if you press that, a new terminal window would be opened. Okay, so I hope you've got the point. There is another shortcut. Let me just write here first, terminal. Okay, and if you press Alt plus F2, it would take it would open up and it would take a single command. Okay, so you can add a single command here to get the result. So then you have basically Control D. Okay, so if you press Control D here, basically it would clear that line where the cursor is. So right now if I press Control D again, it clears the line. Control D again, it clears the line. Control D clears the line. Control D clears the line. Control D clears the line. And if I want to get that all back, I press Control Z. Okay, so Control plus D, and I want it back by Control plus C. And obviously you know that Control C and Control V is for copy paste and Control X is for cut. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, which is checking history. Okay, so you can basically check the history of the commands that have been used in the terminal. So how do you do that? You would write here history, you hit enter, and you can see that there are total 463 commands that are there. Okay, I think there are total like 500 something, that is the total capacity, and it goes up to 1500, depends upon your operating system. And let's say that if I want to run any of the command from the history, and let's say that if I want to run any of the command from the history, let's say that if I want to run this 454 command, which is ls, so how would I run that? I would just write here exclamation mark, something like this, and then I would write here the ID, which is 454. I hit enter, and you can see that it ls it into my current directory, and it gives me the result. Okay, so there is something else that I can do as well. I can basically create less result for the history as well. So if I do that, you can see that it has shown me the first 23 commands, and then as I hit enter, it would basically open new commands for me. Okay, so if I press the enter key, it would display me all the commands one by one. Okay, so if I keep on pressing it, eventually it would take me to the end, which is I think that was till 466. Here we have the end. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic, which is topic number 15, which is head and tail. Okay, so head and tail command, head basically pick up the top 10% of the file, the first 10%, and display it, and tail, it basically takes the last 10% of the file and display it. Okay, so let's say that if I go here, if I ls here, I have two files, file 1 and file 2, right? And if I open file 1 here, you can see that here I have pretty large text, right? So if I use head command, it would, you know, print out the 10% of this file from beginning, and if we use tail command, it would print out the 10% from the here, okay, from the bottom. So let me just cross it from here, and what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to use the head command. So I would write here head file 1, I hit enter, and now you can see that it has basically printed out the top 10%, the first 10% from the beginning. Okay, so how do I know that? Here, types of essays, it starts from there and it is till here. Okay, so if you want to match it, you can go here and you can open this up, file 1, and here you see that it starts from here, type of essays. And if I do the same thing with the tail command, if I write here tail and then I write here file 1, here you can see that it has printed out till here hanging threads. And if I go into the file and if I see here, I have hanging threads. Okay, so it has printed out the last 10% of the file. Okay, so you can do that on multiple files as well. In that case, it would basically, actually I have two files, file 1 and file 2, and they both have the same content. Okay, there is no difference. So if I want to do that for both files, I can also do that. So you can see that, how do I know that? So here you can see that here is the file name file 1 and it is still here. Okay, and file 2, it is still here as well. Okay, so both of that have same content though, but you know that you're gonna know that which file have which content. Okay, so here the heading file 1 and here the heading file2. So head command makes it easy for you, and the similar thing you can do for the tail command as well. Okay, let's move on to the topic number 16, which is wc command. So wc or word count command is basically used to count the characters, words and lines in the file. So let's say I use this file on file 1. If I hit enter, you can see that it has 28 lines. Okay, it has 717 words and it has 3995 characters. Okay, so as file 2 is the same, so if I do that with file 2, it would result into the same thing. Okay, so if I do something like this, wc -c or -c, and then I write here the file name, it would basically print out just the characters of the file. So if I write here, you can see that this time it has only printed out the characters, which are 3995. So if I just want only the lines, I can also do that. For that I would use -l flag. You can see that it has printed out the lines only. And if I want the words only, for that you guessed it right, we use -w, and then we'd write here file 1, and you can see that we have 717 words. Okay, so that was wc command. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question, which is question number 17, or the topic number 17, which is related to the package management, in which we would basically update our repository for new packages if there are any, would search packages, would install a package, and then would show you that how you can remove packages. Okay, so without further ado, let's get on to it. So now in our terminal, what we need to do is that if we want to update our repository, all we have to do is that we have to write here sudo apt-get update. We hit enter, it is going to ask us for the password. I hit enter, and now it would start to update my repository, and it shows that there were new updates, and I have not updated my repository in a while, so it would take some time now. Okay, it also depends upon your internet connection, how fast it is and how quickly it can update. Okay. So now you can see that after updating our package, what we are going to do is that we're going to clear it, and now what we are going to do here, that if you want to search a package, how would you do that? You'd write here apt, and then you'd write here cache, and then you would write here search, and then you would search the keyword. Okay, so for example, I want to search for yum packages, so I would hit enter, and it has basically displayed to me all the yum packages available in my repository. Okay, so now let's say if I want to install yum, how would I do that? I have picked up a package. Your package could be different. So in order to install a package, you have to do something sudo apt-get install. Okay, till here everything would be same, and here the package name would be different. Okay, so just write here your package name, hit enter, and it would start to install your package. Okay, so if you're installing it for the first time, it is going to ask you, do you want to continue? So you press Y, hit enter, and it starts to install your package right here. Okay, so now you can see that it has started it, and now it is basically moving ahead. It is downloading it, and then it would basically install the package. So we'll wait. So now you can see that it has installed the yum package successfully on my computer, and now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove it. Okay, so in order to remove it, what you have to do is that you have to write here sudo apt-get remove, and then the package name, which is essentially yum. So if you do that, you hit enter, it would remove your package. It would ask you if you want to remove it. So I'd press Y, and it would remove the package. The package will not be there, but it would not delete the configuration file of the package. Okay, it would stay there. So if you want to delete the package completely and entirely, for that you just have to do something a little different. Okay, so all you have to do is that you have to do sudo apt-get, and instead of remove, you would write here purge, and then you write here the package name. You hit enter, and now that would basically remove the package entirely from the computer, and there would be no signs of that package on your computer, and it will also delete the configuration file as well. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is services. All right, so the idea is that there are multiple services running on your computer in the background, and because of those services there are specific tasks that you're able to perform on your computer. Okay, so for example, if you're working with databases, you have mysql and apache 2 services running on your computer, and that's why you're able to perform specific tasks. So let's say that if you want to see that which are the services that are running on your computer, what you can do is that you can write here service, then space, then double hyphen, then you write status, and then you write hyphen, and then you write all. You hit enter, and now you can see that one by one all the available services which are running on your computer, they would be listed out here. Okay, so here you can see that we have plus sign. Plus means that specific service is active and running, and you have a negative sign, which means that that service is not active and it is not running. Okay, so here you can see that these are the services with the plus, and if you see here, we have different sort of services available, but we don't have any apache 2 service that I was looking for. Anyway, we'd use this ACP ID. Okay, so in order to actually check the status of that specific service alone, what you need to do, you would write here's ACP ID after service, and then you would write here status. You hit enter, and you can see that we have this green button. Okay, so the green button means it means that the the service is up, active, and it's running. Okay, so now if I want to stop that service, I can do that. What I can write here is service, and then I can write here, let me just use this command ACP ID, and then I can write here stop. So if I do that, that service would be stopped. Okay, it would ask the password to authenticate. So you can see that ACP ID dot service, it is giving me some sort of warning. Okay, so let's check the status again. We hit enter, and you can see that now the color has changed to white. Okay, so it means that this service, it has now been stopped. Okay, so we come out of here and then we start it again. So how do we do that? We just service ACP ID, and then we write here start. We hit enter, and now this service, it would ask us for the password. We would put in our password, and now if we check the status of that, this service would have been started. Okay, so now it's running. All right, so here just notice the time, we have 10:36:36, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to restart this service. So for that, I would just write here restart. I hit enter. It is going to ask me for the password, and now let me just check the status. So for that, I would just write here ACP ID status, and here you can see that instead of 10:36:36, now I have 10:37:01, which means that this service has it has been restarted. Okay, so that's how you basically check the status of a specific service. That's how you restart, start, and stop a service. Okay, so I hope you've got the. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is processes. Okay, so a process is something which is running in the background, or maybe it is not running in the background. For example, this one, this is a process. Okay, so any task that your computer is running is a process. All right, so if we go to our terminal, and if I just simply write here ps, it would represent all the processes that are currently running on my computer. Okay, so this is the process ID. Okay, and TTY, it is for terminal, and this is the time, which is the CPU time it has taken the process, and this CMD, it is the basic name of the process. Okay, and the basic name of the process which is running is bash less systemctl pager and ps. Okay, so these are the processes that are running and active in the background, and these are their process IDs. Okay, so we have two things, one is process ID and other is the job ID as well, that we'd see ahead. So there is something, if I run this process x logo, you can see that this process is running, but until unless I cannot do anything, right? I cannot execute this command, any command. So if I close this process, you can see now the terminal is free and now it can do different things, right? So if I do something like this with the ampersand sign, now the process is running in the background, and this is the process ID and this is the job ID. Okay, JID you can say, that we talked about recently. Okay, so job ID, process ID, and it's running in the background, and we are free to execute any commands. For example, we can do anything. Okay, and we can basically cross it whenever we want. All right, so that was the thing regarding processes. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is the topic number 20, which is adding users to the group. Okay, so let me just clear it, and if we do something like, let me just clear it, cat /etc/group. Okay, if I hit enter, you can see that these are the groups that I have on my computer. Okay, so let's say that I want to add a specific user to a specific group, and the name of that group is color D. Okay, so just note down this ID, which is 124. Okay, so just remember that. So 124 color D. Now let me just clear it. So now what I'm gonna do is that I am going to add a new user. Okay, so how would I do that? I would write here sudo, I would write here user add -d flag, then I would write here the path, which is /home/ let's say John. Okay, previously I used to write here /home/linuxint. Linuxint was the user. So now in the home directory I'm adding another user, which is John. Okay, so then we have here the -s flag, then we have here /bin/bash, and then we have -g flag or -g flag, and after that what we're gonna do is that we're gonna have the group name, which was essentially color D. Okay, so now after that I'm gonna write here -m or -m, and then once again I'm gonna write the username, okay, which is essentially John. All right, so now if I hit enter, you can see that it has basically it's saying user add -d. Okay, mistakenly I had to write here D, but that was a typo that I've made, and instead of D I have written R here. That's my mistake, so let me just remove it and I write here D, and we are good. Okay, so now if I hit enter, you can see that there are no errors. Okay, which means that the user has been added successfully. Otherwise it would have given you an error if there would have been any exception. How do you know that if the user has been added or not? Do you remember the color D ID? Yes, it was 124. Okay, so now just go to cat /etc/password, and here right at the bottom you see we have home/John, which is the John is the username, and 124 is the group ID that we noticed, and it was of color D. Okay, so that's how you add a user to the group. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is adding groups. So we have added the users to the group, and now let's see how do we add new groups. So for that, what you would do, you would write here cat /etc/group, you hit enter, and these are all the groups available, okay, on your computer system. So let's say I want to create a new group. So how would I do that? I would write here sudo, and then I would write here group add for user I had user add, and then we'd write here simply the group, which could be like Linux hint or Linux users. Okay, so if I hit enter, you can see that there is no error. And now if I do something like this, cat/etc/group, I hit enter, and in the bottom you can see that we have a new group added, which is Linux users, right? So if I want to delete it, that is fairly simple as well. I just have to write here sudo, then I would write here group del, and then I would write here the user, Linux users, okay, the group name. I hit enter, there is no error, which means that the group has been deleted successfully. The way to check it is that you write here cat/etc/group, hit enter, and you can see that Linux users, the group has been gone. Okay, so let me just clear it. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is sudo command. We have been using it, but now let me explain to you that what it is. So sudo command, it is basically it means that super user do. Okay, S is for super, U is for user, and do is for do. Okay, so it means that you cannot actually perform specific tasks that require administrative or administrator privileges. Okay, so for example, if you want to update the repository, that is entirely a different case, and not any random user could do it. For that you have to be either a root user, or you have to use the super user privileges. Okay, so let's say that if I want to update the repository, and if I do something like apt get update, you can see that it is saying that we are reading the update, and you can see that we have errors. Okay, so we have problems. So in order to get rid of the problems, what I have to do, I have to write here sudo. So I would write here sudo apt get update. I hit enter, and now you can see that the repository is updating without any error or without any interruption. Okay, so that's the magic of using sudo. So if you are making any changes in the root folder as well, so let's say if I am in the media, okay, this is the media folder. If I ls here, I have nothing inside media. Okay, so if I want to create a directory, let's say in here, I hit enter, you can see that it says cannot create directory, permission denied. And if I just add here sudo, and then I write here mkdir, hit enter, there is no error. If I ls here, you can see that dir has been created successfully. Okay, so that was sudo. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is pretty interesting. Install Apache, PHP, and mysql. So in order to install Apache, all you have to do is that, let me just clear it first. So you have to write here sudo apt get install, and then you would write here Apache 2. You hit enter, and it would start to install it. So I write here y, I hit enter, and now it would start to download it. And first it would download it, and then it would install it. Okay, so we'll wait. Okay, so now Apache 2 has been successfully installed. How do I know that? I can check it. Okay, so in order to check it, all you have to do is that you have to write here service, and then you have to write here Apache 2, and then you write here status. Okay, you hit enter, and you can see that we have Apache 2.service, which is active, up and running. Okay, so we have successfully installed Apache. So now let's install PHP. This command is a little bit longer, so just bear with me. Okay, so in order to install PHP, just watch this entire video. Okay, I try to put that command in the description. Otherwise, if I don't put it, just watch it from here. Okay, so we write here sudo apt install, and then we write here php peer. Okay, then we write here php fpm. Okay, and then we write here php dev, we write here php zip, then we write here php curl, okay, we write here php xml rpc, and then we write here php gd, okay, and we write here php for mysql, and we write here php mb string, okay, and then we write here php xml, right, and then we write here lib apache 2 mod hyphen php, okay. So if I hit enter, and now you can see that it would start to install it. It has 55.1 megabyte size, so I would just press Y, yes, and it would start to download PHP and it would start to install it. Okay, so now we have installed PHP successfully on our computer. So how do we know that if we have installed PHP successfully? So for that, what you would do, you just write here PHP -r or -r, which is a flag, and then you write here single quote, and inside of single quotes you'd write here echo, and then you would echo it this thing right here. Let us write here /n/n/n, basically it takes it to the next line. So right here, your PHP is working fine, okay. Then what we do, we put here a dot, we write here /n/n/n, and then after double quotes we put a semicolon here. Now we hit enter, and you can see that it says your PHP is working fine, which means that we do not have any problems with PHP, okay. So now what we're going to do is that we are going to install MySQL server on our computer, okay. So before that, we can check Apache 2 as well. We have checked it using the service, but we can also check it by going into our browser, favorite browser, whatever it is. Just write here localhost, okay, or 127.0.1, that is same. So here you can see that this is the Apache 2 Ubuntu default page, okay. So it means that Apache 2 server is up and it's running. All right, so now in order to install MySQL, what you have to do is that you have to write here sudo, okay, and then you'd write here apt get install MySQL server, okay. You hit enter, and you can see that it is 162 megabytes. I press Y, it would start to install MySQL server on my computer, but it would take a while depending upon your internet connection, because first it would download 162 megabytes file and then it would install it. So we'll wait. Okay, so now after the installation, what you need to do is that you need to check if your MySQL service is running or not. So for that, what you can do is that you can come here, service MySQL, and then you can basically check the status, okay. So you hit enter, and you can see that your MySQL service is basically running, okay. So you can basically start it. Let me just make sure that it is running. So I start this, okay, it is running, yes. So now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna write here sudo, I'm gonna write here mysql -u or -u, and then I'm gonna write here root, and then I'm gonna write here -p, okay. So I hit enter, it is going to ask me for the password. So I put in my password, and now basically the MySQL is running, okay. So what I can do is that I can take a look at the databases that are there. So for that, I would write here show databases, and these are the 4 databases that are already there. So now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create a database, okay. So I create here database db, let's say, okay. So I hit enter, you can see that it says query, okay, 1 row affected, which means that 1 database has been added here, okay. So you can take a look by writing here show databases, and then put a semicolon, hit enter, and you can see that we have our database DB in here, okay, while previously it was not there. So that's how you basically install Apache, PHP, and MySQL on your Ubuntu system. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed it. So you can quit it by writing quit, and then it would say bye. Okay, so now let's move on to the next topic, which is best web editors. So web editors mean the things, the editors in which you can write HTML, CSS files. All right, so there are plenty of those web editors out there, but there are famous ones, especially Notepad++, Atom, we have Emacs, we have Vim, we have other editors as well, but the one that I like, that is Atom. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you, that how you can install Atom on your system. Okay, so first of all, you need to update your repository. So for that, you'd write here sudo apt get update, so your repository would get updated. Okay, so once it is updated, after that we're going to write a simple command to install the Atom editor on our computer. Okay, once it is updated, here sudo apt get install snapd. Okay, so you hit enter, it is going to install it. It is already there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear it, and now I'm going to install Atom. So I would write here sudo snap install Atom, and then hyphen classic. Okay, so I hit enter, and now it would basically download the Atom, and now you can see that here it is downloading, and it is also showing the percentage downloaded, and now it's been like 4% downloaded, 5%. It would take some time, so we'll wait. Okay, so now the Atom is installed. So all I have to do is that I have to go here, type here Atom, and here you can see that I have this little icon. I can drag it out here, and it has been added to my favorites. And now if I go here, I click on it, now the Atom editor would open up, and in there I can add different files, I can open them, or even I can create different sort of files in my newly installed editor, which is Atom. Okay, so this is the interface of Atom, and in here you'd be able to see this is the welcome screen, and from here you can actually have a new window. You can open a new file, you can open a file, you can open a project, entire project, in which it would basically create a very nice hierarchy. You can install a package on Atom as well. You can choose a different theme, you can customize the styling. There are several different options that you can choose from. Okay, so the idea is that bash is the abbreviation of born again shell, and in which if you see here ls, I have written one command. I cannot write multiple commands here. So the idea is that in bash we can write multiple commands. Okay, so for example, if I'm going to my desktop here, and what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create a file here. Okay, so what I would do, I would write here nano, and then I would write here bash script .sh. all right, so .sh is for a shell extension. I hit enter, and it would open this bash script .sh file in my nano text editor, and in here I'm gonna write here hash and then exclamation mark /bin /bash. Okay, so in every bash script you're gonna write this in the very first line. So inside here I can execute multiple commands. So for example, I write here touch, and then I create a new text file, new file.text, and what I do is that in the next line I change the permissions. I give all permission to all the stakeholders. Okay, so 777, and then I write here new file.text. Okay, so this is my bash script. So I press Ctrl O, I save it, I come out of here, I ls here now, So if I ls here, you can see that I have bash script.sh, but as you can see that the color of it is white, right? So it means that it is not executable yet. So if I check permission ls negative l bash script, you can see that there are read and write permission, but there are no executable permissions, right? So for that, what I can do, because I want to execute this script, so for that I would write here chmod, and then I would write here +x because I want to add the permissions. And if I don't write here anything, it means that it would add execute permissions for everyone, like for the other people, for the groups, and for the owner as well. So if I just want to add it for the owner, I would just write here u, okay? And then I would write here the bash script name, which is essentially bash script.sh. Okay, so if I want to add it for all the users, I can also do that. And now if I ls here, you can see that all the users have executable permissions for bash script.sh. So now if I want to execute this script, all I have to do is that I need to write here // and then I would write here bash script.sh. I would hit enter, and you can see that it has not given us any error. So what I can do is that I can ls negative l here, and you can see that we have new file.txt here with all the permissions, okay, because we had 777 there. Okay, so there is another thing that I can do is that I can open this script and I can have here echo. Okay, in bash script you also have the echo command, so I can echo it here, hello world. And if I save it, I come out of here, I run my bash script, and I hit enter, and you can see that we have hello world printed out here. So that was all about bash scripts. That's how you run it. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is regarding Python scripts. Okay, so you have to install Python on your computer system. So for that, you would write here sudo apt get install Python. All right, so this would install Python 2.7 on your computer system, and you can see that I have already installed the 2.7 Python version on my system, so it has not taken much time. While you'd be installing it for the first time, it would take probably a couple of minutes in order to download the Python and then basically install it. All right, so I have it here. So there are basically two ways to write Python. Either I can write here Python, and then I can simply write here the code in one line, print hello world. Okay, so you can see that I have printed out hello world successfully. The other thing that I can do, x1 semicolon y is equal to 2, and then basically I can write here z equals x plus y, and then basically I can put a semicolon here, and then I can write here print z. I hit enter, and you can see that we have a result 3. Okay, but the problem with that is that everything you need to write it in one line. Okay, so what you can do is that you can create a Python script entirely as well. Okay, so for that, what you have to do is that you have to come out of here from the Python console, and all you have to do is that you have to create a Python script first. Okay, so we'd write here py hello.py. all right, so hello.py is like a Python script. All right, so it has been created, and now I can write code inside here. So what I can do is that I can write here print hello world. Okay, and the other things that I can do is that I can create an x variable here, I can create a y variable here, I can create a z variable here as well, and then I can basically add all of them in another variable named as a. Okay, and then I can print that out as well. Okay, so now we are all good. We save it and we cross it, and in order to run the Python script on your system, so now in order to run your Python script, you're gonna write here Python, and then you're gonna write here your script name, which is essentially hello.py. okay, you hit enter, and you can see that these are the results. First, it has printed out the hello world, and then it has added all 3 variables and then printed it out. Okay, so that's how you can run Python scripts in your Ubuntu. So now let's move on to the last but not least topic, C programs. So how do you run C programs on your system actually? Let me show you. Okay, so first of all, what you're gonna do is that you're going to create a file on your desktop. Okay, so right now I have different file. I have demos.c file actually already created on my system. So let me just open that. So I would open it up. It has some code here, pretty long one. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to remove all the code. Okay, so let me just come out of here. Okay, let me just open this file in so let me just open this demo.c with gedit. Okay, so I open it up. You can see that I have code here already, a very large code. So what I can do is that I can write here the code again, stdio.h, and then I can have here int main, and inside here I can write any of the code. So let's say I just simply write here printf. Okay, in C you have printf, and then I write here hello world. All right, so I have this code here. I save it basically, and after saving it I close this window right here, and now it's time to run our code. So in order to run your code, what you have to do is that you have to write here GCC. Okay, so first of all, you check the GCC version on your computer system. It is already installed. Okay, it comes pre-installed on your Ubuntu. So just check it, GCC -- version. Without that it won't work. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we're going to use this GCC to run our C file. So write here GCC, then we write here demo.c, then we write here -o, which is a flag which is going to create a binary file. So we create a binary file named as test, let's say. So we hit enter, and now it would basically execute or compile the program. So after compiling, it shows no error, which means now you can run the output file. So you'd write here /test, and now you can see that this is the hello world output on your system, right? So that's how you basically run a C program on your Ubuntu system. So that was it from this video. I hope you have enjoyed this Ubuntu training course. This was for beginners. If you have any questions, ask us in the comments below. For written articles, you can always visit our website linuxin.com. Thank you so much for watching.